This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Boring. 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 Boring.
You gotta work. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're gonna feel.
I call again for immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
Welcome to new series preview with me, Len Bitopic, here on unprecedented.tv. We have dire consequences coming up in a very positive way with Claire Dyer. Claire, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
How are you?
Oh, very well. Very pleased we've got this far. You'll get your own wonderful intro as soon as our team develops one. But I thought it was a good time for us to talk about your new series, Dire Consequences. For those who don't know you, tell our viewers something about yourself.
Oh, I don't know. I would say to sum
You're
up.
never lost to words. That's why you've got a show.
I know. I would say to sum up, I am a campaigner, but I would say foremost a humanitarian. For me, I just feel things very strongly. I care about all people. I see what's going on in the world, not the good stuff that's going on in the world, unfortunately. And I've always been that person that if somebody needs help, I will try and help them. And, so this kind of started for me seeing what was going on, an agenda that really kick-started 5.5 years ago. And I just felt I can see through this. I can see what they're doing to us and to other people, and I can't stay silent about it. So I decided I would be very vocal on social media, and it's just kind of escalated from there. Now it's become my life.
And it's become a series as well. What I'm impressed with you about is something that you were talking about before we went on air. You've got so much energy that you mess up technology. You fry the microchips with your psychic power. And that's something to behold, really. You're, in fact, the exact opposite of Keir Starmer, I would say.
It's true. I can talk a lot. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. I mean, I get said to me all the time, "Oh, you don't stop talking." And they were saying it to me yesterday, actually, when we were obviously at the side of a road campaigning against you, Les, first thing yesterday morning. And I said, I've always said, what would you rather? A partner who sits in the corner at a parties and doesn't say boo to a goose and people are trying to talk to them and it's like getting blood out of a stone, or somebody that talks a lot? So that's my defense. So yes, I do talk a lot. So that's probably what I'm good at. I think I'm good at explaining things very simply for people that may not understand. I think I have a good understanding of people and psychology. That's my thing. So when it comes to technology, no, I hate it probably as much as it hates me. And you can guarantee that even something as simple as an email, it's gonna go wrong for me. I really do think I have that strong aversion to it. I mean, I do. I hate it. I honestly do. It's social media, is very, very good for connecting people. I mean, you had relatives that moved halfway across the world, and you can instantly connect with them. But then for getting information out that our mainstream media won't tell us, it is becoming the new media. Social media, alternative media companies are the new media. You're more likely to get the truth if you can push through that censorship. But then there's a whole sort of evil side to that, the trolling. People feel very free and confident to obviously insult people. And that's becoming more and more apparent, which kind of goes against everything I stand for when it comes to humanity. I feel that we're losing our sense of humanity through everything, through what our governments are doing to us, the stresses and pressures they're putting on us. And people feel able to express their dislike or their hatred behind a keyboard. But I've always said you wouldn't see people walking up and down the high street and every random stranger they passed, they would throw an insult at them about the way they looked or dressed or something they said. They wouldn't have that confidence. And and as far as EMF is concerned,
what's EMS?
It's electromagnetic frequency. Everything is frequency, everything is energy. We're made up 80% of water. You put water in a glass and then put different sounds, it will vibrate a different way. I don't have a massive understanding. I always say I'm a jack of all trades and a master at none. I know a little bit about a lot of things, to enough to have a sort of a basic understanding. So, the earth is energy. That's why everything is grounded. Especially even with electricity, our plants, our trees, it's all energy. We are energy. And obviously music is on a frequency and energy. And, our mobile phones, our Wi-Fi, all of that. I would definitely say that I have a mild sensitivity to that. I don't think it does much favors, but I know of a lot of people that are extremely sensitive. So when people, for example, talk about 5G, do I necessarily think 5G, 6G, all of our computers, Xboxes, all of that? Do I think it's necessary good for us? No, I don't. Do I think the amount of time, and I'm going to be obviously a bit hypocritical here, the amount of times we spend on our, electronic devices, whether it's laptops, phones, kids with Xboxes, is it good for us? No, it's not. So that's the kind of the downside to it. But as I said, the positives are we can do what we're doing here and hopefully try and get the truth out. With the show, I said recently, I think I'm going to have to learn about politics. And I really...
You don't have to learn about it because you do it. Politics isn't something, you can study at university, but look how many terrible politicians we have who studied politics and then went into it. They didn't live life. They went from college to working for an MP to becoming an MP or becoming a lawyer, which is just as bad.
Yeah. See, the thing is, for me, first of all, it's never interested me, but also I think deep down, I've always had an issue with the people in power. I didn't have a very good understanding for a long time. And I said that came more about me 6 years ago, having a bit of an epiphany and realizing that the way I feel about the world and my life, I just generally didn't feel like I fitted in. So I would say even going back then, politics to me, I'm going to say is corrupt. It is about money. It's about power. So I think like with technology, politics as well, and also knowing what was going on around the world, I'll be honest, there was an element of naivety. I buried my head in the sand. I chose to turn a blind eye. And I now know it's because I feel things too much that I didn't feel that I was able to cope with it. And I've always said I couldn't watch comic relief or children in need or anything like that, because I would literally want to jump on a plane right there and then and go and help build a school for African children. And I would want to feed them. And I've always said I should be a millionaire or a billionaire, because I honestly, hand on heart, would give my money to these causes directly, not to charities, but directly. I'd go out there and I would physically be there on the ground, because it hurts too much. So I think my whole life I have just sort of pushed it all away. Don't want to know about politics. So didn't know about politics. Don't want to know what is going on in these other countries with war and genocide, because it's too painful for me to survive. And obviously now, doing what I'm doing, I'm having to make myself look at this stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's certain things when I feel strong enough mentally that I will go down and say, right, I want to learn a bit more about this. But it's heartbreaking and it almost feels soul destroying. So then you have to take a bit of a break. So am I thick when it comes to politics? Yes, I am. But
You mentioned ultra low emission zone ULEZ as well. Tell us about your campaigning on that. What is it? What is the issue? Because that's one of the things really got you active.
Oh, so yesterday, obviously we know it was slightly sidestepping. It was 30 degrees, wasn't it, yesterday? And there we were from 7:30 in the morning out on the street, and it was hot. And we were there for quite a few hours. And I managed to get a strike on TikTok. I think somebody reported it because I talked about the fact that I said, look, here we are. It doesn't matter whether it's raining. It doesn't matter what the weather conditions. If we have to be there at the side of the road to protect that area from obviously being fined or being charged ULEZ, which we know is a lie, then we are there and we will do it. And I said, we're not going to shy away and be scaremongered into believing that, because it's 30 degrees heat, we're all going to die. We're not stupid. We have common sense. Look, we have some shade over here. If we get too hot, we can go in the shade. I understand people that have obviously heat sensitive conditions, but for the average able-bodied people, don't be buying into this, stay indoors for a few days, shut your curtains, and this isn't the, when they say this is the hottest day on record temperatures, that might be just for that day that's been the temperature.
But it wasn't actually true. Just on ultra low emission zone, you said it's a lie. I don't believe it's saving lives. No. I think a tiny number of people are hypersensitive to emissions, but they shouldn't be going into the underground then, because it's hundreds of percent more polluted with particulate matter in the underground. So what Sadiq Khan is saying is particulate matter kills you, so go and get more of it in the underground. It's just utterly ignorant, and it's scientifically illiterate.
Well, what I rounded up by saying was, which was probably what got me the strike, was I said, we don't buy into the climate scam. And I got told that would be the word that would have done it, because I got taken down for obviously integrity, authenticity, and spreading misinformation.
That's insane.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't actually misinformation. I was giving my opinion, but also the fact is I was actually saying to people, well, if it's too hot, go in the shade. We're not stupid. We don't need to be dictated to. But yes, that got my video taken down. So obviously ULEZ is a part of that. ULEZ is being pushed under the guise of net zero, and obviously countries around the world who have signed up to the net zero agenda, which comes from the World Economic Forum, and it's a way of scaremongering us into believing that there is climate change, and if we don't make these changes now and we don't make a number of changes in a certain time frame, then we're all going to die. The world's going to explode. And there's so many scientists that have been shut down. There's thousands of scientists that signed a declaration many years ago to say there was no human-made climate change. And, people would say China can produce all of their stuff and all of the things that they're producing. We are now buying to achieve net zero. But if you look at the map and the size of England, do you really think that even if just England alone achieved net zero completely, that's going to make a difference to the world? No, it's not. But, that's where common sense comes in.
I think that the climate does change, but it changes with or without human beings. We make barely a measurable impact on it. 95% of carbon dioxide is natural, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Maybe we emit 5%, some say more like 3% of all the carbon dioxide that gets emitted every year. So if human beings stopped existing, there'd almost be the same amount of carbon dioxide being emitted and absorbed every year anyway. Let me show you something. It's a bit of a digression, but do you know what this is? It's a beach. People fly to hot places, and it's probably 35 there, 38. They're not staying indoors. I have to tell you, it just infuriates me when you get wall-to-wall mainstream media coverage saying, oh, it's really hot. Lock up your doors. Sit in the dark. Panic stations. People pay hundreds or even thousands of pounds to go to places like that because it's hot. I actually quite like today because it's raining and it means I don't have to water the garden. But actually, I love going to Greece. It's one of my favorite countries, actually. And I like it because it's hot. People aren't dying in the streets because it's hot.
No.
The whole thing is ridiculous. And then, of course, they go, oh, it's hot because of climate change. No, it's hot because it's sunny.
But this,
That's why. It's just crazy. So
I
go
know,
on.
but this was the same thing with COVID. They, before we went into lockdown, they were showing us pictures of people dropping dead in the streets of China. And we're like, China's so far away. And then we were being shown loads of pictures of people dropping dead in Italy. And that's obviously neighbours. And then so as soon as they put us into lockdown, people were so scared they were willing to comply with it. But did we ever see anyone drop down dead in the street? So, it goes hand in hand. The same psychological tactics are being used because that's what COVID was for. It was a psychological experiment. It was data gathering to see who would comply, who wouldn't, what tactics would work, what wouldn't. So when they then pushed with the net zero agenda, they are actually using the same psychological tactics to scaremonger people again, but also make people not want to think that they're being selfish if they don't comply. That's all it is. But everything is linked. Absolutely every last tiny incy little thing that is happening. And even if you just take ULEZ, LTNs, roadworks, everything they're doing is either to sort of force you off the road through circumstances, as in physical circumstances, because there's roadworks and your road's blocked and it's too stressful to get out. So you think, okay, I'm not going to be going to work today, or through your own financial circumstances. So, therefore, the people that couldn't afford to pay £12.50 every single day, they either sold their non-compliant cars. I know many people, it's all well and good them saying, oh, there's hardly any non-compliant vehicles on the road. But I know many people who did sell their non-compliant vehicle and have not replaced their vehicles.
That's the idea, though. That's what they're trying to do.
Yes.
They're trying to control everything.
Well, you think as well with electric. So a lot of people were in the financial position that they were able to buy an electric vehicle, and they're thinking, oh, yeah, great, we're safe now. But the reality is it is drip, drip, feed. And, as I said before, they will start, they've got to pay car tax, which actually I agree with, because their vehicles are more heavy. So they're doing more damage to the roads. And that's what car tax was supposed to be about. But they will have to pay the congestion charge. And, give it another couple of years, electric's going to be treated the same. And then those people who have now financed or PCP an electric car, what are they going to do? That was probably their last chance of owning a vehicle.
So let's talk briefly before we finish about your show. What is Dire Consequences going to be about?
Well, I mean, the title Consequences, I kind of look at it as if we, the people, don't do certain things, then we are going to suffer the consequences of that. But what I feel I want is, as I said, I'm not good with politics. I'm not good with, obviously, history of religion and what all these wars that are going on. But there is so much going on that is affecting everyday people. There's so many things that are happening in local communities which are the detrimental effects of this agenda that they're pushing. And I feel that's the way to reach people, that I want ordinary people to have their voices heard, who would never in a million years get on mainstream media. Mainstream media wouldn't cover it. So there's a lot of things that have happened to people, whether it's, abuse by the police, our councils, selling off their assets, just various things that are happening. And also people, just the average day, ordinary person like myself that is standing up and doing something, or something has happened to them. Like I said, I just mentioned abuse of the police. The ordinary people, so that people can see that this isn't something that's happening to everybody else. This is stuff that is happening on your doorstep right now. And for those people to have the chance to have their voices heard, for them to even say what it is that they're currently campaigning and fighting for, so that it gets, it goes out to a wider scope of people. Because, one person will go, oh, do you know what? That's happened to me. Or, or we're currently trying to fight this right now. If it's something to do with the local council, do you know what I mean? Anything like that. People are struggling. There's so many people out there struggling to get their voices heard, or have gone through something that they want people to be aware of, whether it's to protect other people, whether it's for other people to know that they're not alone in that, that, oh, look, they've gone through the same thing as me. And then they feel brave enough to speak up about it. And it can be anything.
I was just going to say, so dire consequences is basically ordinary people having ordinary problems, which we might be able to fix by giving them a platform.
Yes, I think so. But also giving other people the strength to also stand up. Because I think the more people they see, we try and do all of this on our own social medias. Some people got huge followings, other people haven't. I think it'll give people maybe a bit more strength, to if they see other people kind of doing the same thing. So it can be anything really. I don't think it needs to be just about what this agenda is about, but to be honest, I think that everything to a degree that is happening, everything that somebody is going through will be a result of what this government, but also the World Economic Forum are pushing on us and implementing on us. They might not just see it yet. So I think for everyday things to be highlighted might just open other people's minds. Because for me, it is also my initial goal was to gain awareness. It was to wake more people up. I honestly have hope and believe that globally, if we are the silent majority for many reasons, one being people are still scared to speak out, but we are bigger in numbers. And I think if we can just pull ourselves together and everyone played their part, and it doesn't matter how small it is, it's that one email or that one freedom of information request, or it's a community pulling together to save their community centre, whatever it is, it's another small win. Do I think we can win the whole thing? I don't know. But my belief and my hope is that the more people that wake up globally around the world to what is going on, we become a full, strong, vocal, active majority. And I think that one way of getting people to see that who still don't see what's going on is to show them in very basic terms, layman terms, but also just the ordinary story of maybe your neighbour or someone in your borough or your village, and how is going through something or is fighting something that actually connects to the wider issues and the agenda, because then it kind of might give a light bulb moment.
Nicely put. So dire consequences, we're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks, and you'll be a regular contributor to unprecedented.tv. I always say, we don't want to beat the mainstream media. We want to be the mainstream media. And we're actually going to be what media should be, a force for good. Thanks, Claire.
The truth. At some point the truth always comes out, and I think all you've got is the truth. And we'll get you a wonderful introduction and an intro and outro, as they're called. I'm using mine now because I like it, but we'll get one for I actually like that. I actually do. I think I have to say, I think it's better than the original one. It's quite amusing as well, especially seeing Greta up there, and then
little Greta, yes, dropped out of education way too early, I think. But there we go. Well, we'll get one for you as well. We have a wonderful team here at unprecedented.tv, and they've really got the momentum at the moment. So we're excited to welcome you to the unprecedented.tv station. Dire consequences coming soon. Thanks for being on. We're going to play my little piece of music on the way out, but before long you'll have your own. That is Claire Dyer, Dire Consequences, coming to unprecedented.tv. And if you've got something that you want Claire to campaign on or to cover on the show, then just get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Put your comments in on the X, and we shall pass them on to Claire. Claire Dyer, Dire Consequences, unprecedented.tv.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Boring. Boring. Boring.
That's exactly what you're doing. No
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages,